Top 5 questions after the Stefon Diggs trade. I can get into this with my Cowboys emotions with this first one.
You already have, but go ahead again.
Yeah. Number 5, can the Texans and Cowboys be on Turkey Day? Can this be the Thanksgiving game? Diggs v. Diggs.
Yeah, that way
Texas
both of them
versus
can
Texas.
have turkey together after the game.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. Also, I would like to, at this point in the season where the Texans are probably taking off, and I'm going, what is going on with the Cowboys? Just be able to see Jerry's face. You're like, oh, this is how you do that. This is how you do that. And also, nothing will make Jerry change his philosophy faster than the Texans doing something that they're not. Because while the other teams in the NFC East bother him, he's the king of Texas. He does not want everybody talking about, oh, look what Houston's doing. I don't think he would say this out loud, but
So he's not upset about the San Antonio gunslingers?
I don't think he wants the Texans to ever take any of their oxygen away.
Plus Houston and Dallas hate each other. Yeah.
Even though they would take a lot for them to take any of the Cowboys' oxygen away, if they start even taking 2% of it away, it's going to be upsetting for him.
And they do play in Arlington next year. Yep. It's one of the home games.
Yeah, I think that much like some of these conferences or colleges kind of want to box out certain people, I think Jerry, the way to do that is to not give them the opportunity, right? So I think for Jerry, you're not going to give the Texans an opportunity on Thanksgiving to embarrass you. Mm-hmm. You're just not even going to go for that. It doesn't matter how much the in-state battle could be marketed or whatever. I don't think for a second he's going to risk the chance that, it's one thing getting beat by the Packers the Dolphins or something on Thanksgiving Day. It'd be another thing entirely in a battle of Texas to get beat by the Texans on the day that you have ruled for so very long. But yeah, I'd be all for more of a ramping up of the rivalry. So we see what the Astros and Rangers has turned into ever since the Astros rejoined the American League. The Rockets, Spurs, and Mavericks, depending on how good the teams are at any given moment, can always get pretty feisty. But there's not really an element between the Texans and the Cowboys outside of the fact that they're just both in Texas. But there's not really anything else to it. There was the Texans beating them was that a preseason game?
Oh no,
or was that a regular season game?
That was an opening game.
Yeah, I can't remember. It's been so long, but there was
that. It was
the
Texans' first ever game.
Yeah, there was that, and then I guess there's been little things here and there, but for the most part, that's not really a rivalry of any sort. But yeah, I'd love to see more of that. I just don't think Jerry's going to risk it.
You think anyone's going to throw a ball inside this weekend when the Astros and Rangers play? Because the Rangers are absolutely getting drilled quite a bit.
Oh, the guy who hit Josh Young was a former Astros pitcher, which is why there was all this big to-do about it, was the thought that he was getting some measure of revenge. But yeah.
Hit Adolis and then hit Josh Young, who's out now for 2 months, and then also a third player too. Yeah. All right, Paul.
Yeah. Number 4. What are the Texans actually missing at this point? Look at their offense. They've got 2 good tackles in Titus Howard and Laramie Tunsil. They've got a tight end in Dalton Schultz, who's very good. They've got 3 wide receivers that you can depend on in Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and now Stefon Diggs, who's a legit star. Although he did tail off at the end of last year, I think he's still got gas in the tank. They've got C.J. Stroud, a young quarterback in his rookie deal, who was fantastic. They went and got Joe Mixon for their running game, which was atrocious last year. They've got some potential on defense with bringing in Danielle Hunter. They signed a defensive tackle who still escapes me, and I'm sorry about that. They've got some intriguing things going on in the secondary. They brought in Jeff Okudah on a 1-year prove-it deal. So what are they missing at this point? And look, they have a pick that's late in the second round after they traded the pick they just got from the Vikings to the Bills to get Stefon Diggs. But again, right now you're in a position in the draft where you can get whatever you want, whatever you feel like you need, and then in the rest of free agency, if you can't do that, fill out a spot starter here and there. There are not too many holes in this roster, and Nick Caserio has done an amazing job of filling it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the roster well enough, but you just laid it out pretty much all there. So I think I saw, before today, draft needs were still a defensive back was where I saw an article the other day. I don't know how accurate that remains, like I said. But, you can always improve, and they have certainly done that this offseason. I think they spent $150 million in guaranteed money the last few months. So they're in it to win it. They've got their quarterback, and it's kind of amazing. Once you realize you've got the guy, that's when you can start to fill in all the pieces around him. I think the thing with a team like the Washington Commanders, who 3 of us in this room have rooted for our whole lives, is that you've never had the quarterback, basically, so it's hard to know what to do around that because you don't have that strong root to build from, and the Texans have that, and they're going, all right, we definitely have the guy who's going to be the guy for a long time. So let's give him all the ammunition he needs, and let's go win some freaking Super Bowls. And that's got to be a great feeling for Texans fans.
Yeah.
Hey, can I do real quick? Can I give Adam McDonald your cell phone number?
Absolutely not. No.
Millions of questions, Adam. We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. No. I my private life is my private life. I'm a very reserved person. Number 3. How many more Bills are out the door? Look, Jordan Poyer out the door. Tre'Davious White out the door. Stefon Diggs out the door. Mitch Morris out the door. Gabe Davis out the door. So that's
another wide receiver,
that's
right? Yeah.
5 starters. Now, look, I did like that they brought in Curtis Samuel, but he's not a number 1 wide receiver. He's going to work really well in Joe Brady's offense because we've seen him work well in Joe Brady's offense before, and he's going to mesh well there. But they might have some other ones going out. I can assume, since this is such a good wide receiver draft, that's that pick at 28 or that pick at 42 will be a wide receiver because they're going to need it, and would not be surprised to maybe see them go sign an Odell Beckham or something that they can get him on a nice 1-year deal to help improve that. I don't think the window is closed for the Bills, but the window is closed for this version of the Bills, like you said earlier, Craig.
Yeah, I mean, the Josh Allen window is still very much open, but beyond that, I think their version of who they've been, that clearly ended this past season. And Stefon Diggs and various others now out the door have led to a bit of a reset, and you've at least got the starting quarterback that I just mentioned. That's the hardest part to nail down, and then once you can do that, you can go find other guys. So I'm sure they'll find a great receiver in the draft and the like, but certainly if you were hoping for it to all get cashed in these last couple of seasons, unfortunately there's been guys like Patrick Mahomes in your way and just things out of your control as a fan. But they still got the quarterback, so that's good, but it is a bit bittersweet, I'm sure, seeing so many guys moving on from a team you hoped was going to get to the promised land.
Whose window is closing quicker? Cowboys, Dak, Bills, Josh Allen.
Dak.
Yeah, I have to say Cowboys, Dak.
In fact,
I mean, I think
Cowboys have probably, Craig, basically admitted that themselves. That our window, we've done it, and now we've got to try to at least still win, but we've got to do it differently.
I mean, I think Dak's had as much help as anybody around him. I know there's certain areas that Paul feels like they can, and other Cowboys fans that they can get better, but I mean, you can't put better weapons than they've continuously put around him. They seemingly tried to go all in, but I think Dak is on more of a clock because I don't think there's anybody in Buffalo going like, well, Josh Allen better prove something here. We're going to need to get a new quarterback. They're saying that in Dallas. They're not saying that in Buffalo.
No, absolutely not. Number 2, how do the Bills replace him? Do they replace him in the aggregate? Do they do it in the draft? Is Joe Brady's scheme a little bit different? Is it the guys they have on the roster right now? Do you trust Josh Allen to do that? I don't know, because Stefon Diggs was the guy who came in and helped get the offense over the top because before then they were still kind of, man, this Josh Allen's really talented and athletic, but we've got to get him a number 1 target. We'll see. Maybe Curtis Samuel is that guy. Maybe the guys they have on the roster right now are better than we think, and the draft pick can work out. But man, it's gonna be different not to see him there.
Their wide receivers are Justin Shorter, Khalil Shakir, Chris Samuel, Mac Hollins, Tyrell Shavers, Andy Isabella, KJ Hamler, and Brian Thompson.
Yeah.
I've heard of maybe 2 of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of more than that, but, certainly it's not a star-studded roster, and it's definitely missing a big piece now with Stefon Diggs not being a part of that mix. So I saw the latest mock draft from, I think it was Field Yates. He had them picking Xavier Worthy. They've got the 28th pick, and so Xavier Worthy would make a lot of sense, but just fill in a receiver's name. Lucky for them, there's a lot of receivers. There's a lot of really good receivers. There's a lot of first-round talent wide receivers. So many that, some guys are likely to get picked in the second round that are first-round talent guys. Yeah. So they can certainly go and add a couple of wide receivers in this draft if they play their cards right. I definitely would need more than Xavier Worthy. You'd want more than just that, but maybe they put together. I don't know what their situation is exactly with their cash of what they have to offer up, but they can go in the draft, and there's plenty of receivers to be found.
But the dudes, the alphas, aren't they? Craig and Paul, the ones that go in the top 10.
Yeah, those are Malik Neighbors.
I mean, that's Harrison Jr. and those, but they're still like
neighbors.
Yeah, plenty of
but you
really
go,
solid wide receivers. Go get A.D. Mitchell or Xavier Worthy or
Lad McConkey, Keon Coleman, Troy Franklin, Xavier Leggett, Malachi Corley, all guys who could work out well. Number one, how legit a contender are the Texans? They're still in the AFC, and the AFC still has Josh Allen, who we're talking about. They've got Joe Burrow. They've got Justin Herbert with a new coach in Jim Harbaugh. They've got lots of other guys, and they've got this dude named Mahomes who's done a couple of nice things in the league. I don't know if you've heard about him, but they've got Mahomes.
I watched him play safety in high school.
So
how about that?
You can you make the jump? Can you go toe to toe, mano a mano with Mahomes and the Chiefs? Are they that legit of a contender right now? I guess we'll see, but they're betting that they are. Otherwise, they don't make these moves.
I was stunned at their success and what C.J. Stroud was able to do, but they seem to be young, talented, fast, and they have some collateral too. So I don't know, but again, Kansas City's Kansas City until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Houston was able to get into the second round of the playoffs. That's a nice start. It's still a couple rounds short, and they got embarrassed by Baltimore. I mean, they got beat up pretty good in that game in the divisional round. So they're still a little bit of a ways away, but they're not that far away. I mean, you get in the second round of the playoffs, you're just one game from the AFC Championship. And, whether that's making the game means that you're close to the Chiefs or not, I don't know. But, I mean, I'll put it this way. They were nowhere close about a year ago, and they are far closer now than I think probably anybody could have thought that they would be. In comparison to where they were prior to hiring DeMeco Ryans, prior to drafting C.J. Stroud. And they've been a team that's had pretty consistent average success, but it does feel like they've got a difference maker at quarterback, potentially at head coach, and at a couple of other spots as well if things work right. And they've got another draft to add up even more players and add even more talent to that roster. So they're shaping up well. I don't think you're all in on a Super Bowl run just yet, but I don't think you're like 5 years from that either. I think you're looking in the next couple of years of them really trying to get deeper and possibly having the potential to do so.
They're fun, and I love the fact that